Welcome to Supernatural Scotland, the podcast, presented by me, Mark Smith. Please like the page on Facebook where you can send me suggestions for locations or share your own stories, which I would love to hear and may use in future podcasts. You can also view my videos on YouTube, and please subscribe. Scotland is a very old land on which many battles and tragic stories have played out. It is stained with these stories, and this may be what causes it to have so many supernatural stories. Join me as we discuss some of these stories and the creatures said to live here. Our first location is Sandwood Bay, said to be the most haunted beach in Scotland and possibly Britain. This is located in the northwest Highlands of Scotland, so it is quite isolated and is a beautiful place to visit. There is a car park, however, it is around 4 miles walk from the car park to reach the beach. Being very isolated, it is said, of course, to be haunted by sailors. They were shipwrecked. And since the beach didn't have a lighthouse, there were many shipwrecks and deaths. It is said to be a ship graveyard. It is claimed treasure from a Spanish galleon is buried on the beach. This area is said to be a hotspot for supernatural due to the huge amount of lives lost. Pirates haunt the beach and apparently chase off visitors while looking for lost treasures. It is even claimed visitors during the night have seen ghosts running into the water and disappearing, never to return to shore. Others have gathered driftwood on the beach and have heard a loud voice shouting at them for touching what doesn't belong to them. Groups of oddly dressed ghosts have been spotted crying into their hands wandering the beach. In the last episode we discussed will-o-the-wisps. Some have seen mysterious lights over the waters at Sandwood Bay. Some believe these to be will-o-the-wisps trying to trick unsuspecting travellers into the freezing cold waters to their doom. Some believe it's due to the lost treasure of the Spanish galleon. There is an old abandoned cottage near the beach, and it's said to be the main site of many ghostly apparitions. These sightings include a ghostly sailor knocking at the door, to ghostly footsteps approaching the cottage. One man claimed to be woken by his dog barking at the sound of footsteps, and coming face to face with a bearded old sailor looking in. When he went to investigate, the sailor was gone. The same man stayed another night in the cottage, but was woken by a presence pressing down on him. He never stayed at night again. 2 other visitors staying the night were awoken by the cottage shaking and the freaky sight of ghost horses stamping past. Could these have been kelpies? They were indeed near water. There have been tales of mermaids, which would make sense at being so far off the beaten track. In January 1900, someone claimed to have seen a beautiful mermaid at around 7 foot long relaxing in the sun near the water. If you do visit, be careful. You do not want to be taken away by a kelpie to be drowned in the depths. Nor do you want to be caught out by a mermaid or tricked into the water by will-o-the-wisps. If you go at night, be ready for a ghostly time. Now, our second location is Dalhousie Castle. Dalhousie Castle, believe it or not, is in fact a hotel, so you can book here to stay the night. The castle is luxurious and traditional, and filled with antiques and relics. It is said to be haunted by many ghosts. It was built In the 13th century, most of the original castle is gone, but the vaults and foundations still exist. The structure we see today was built in 1450. However, it has received extensions and alterations obviously over the years, as this was built hundreds of years ago. The castle even originally had its own moat and drawbridge, but the moat was filled to make way for it becoming a hotel. Dalhousie Castle is 8 miles south of Edinburgh and located near Bonnyrigg, Midlothian. The castle has been owned by the same family for near 800 years. Guests include Mary Queen of Scots, Sir Walter Scott and Queen Victoria. It also has secret staircases and a secret bar behind a moving bookcase. It also has its very own dungeon and has been home to many prisoners. Probably the most famous ghost would be the Grey Lady. It is speculated that she is Lady Catherine, a 16-year-old mistress. When the affair was discovered, the poor girl was imprisoned in one of the turrets and left to starve to death. A horrific death indeed, and now she haunts the grounds. She is said to be quite an active ghost and seen by many. You may hear her dress rustling, or you may hear her tap on your door. She has also touched visitors' shoulders and has been seen sitting at the end of beds. Another famous ghost is Sir Alexander Ramsay. He is seen quite often wandering the castle and the grounds. His body was found many years after his death when the castle was being refurbed. He was given a proper funeral, however, this did not stop his ghost haunting the castle. Some guests have had their hair pulled, but all in all the ghosts are not violent and have not caused any serious harm. Would you stay a night at Dalhousie Castle? Our first creature feature this week will focus on kelpies. In Scottish folklore, kelpies are believed to be an evil shape-shifting creature who would likely drown you. Some believe the kelpie to appear as a tame pony beside a river to attract children. Once on its back, they cannot escape. The kelpie will take them into the river, drown them, and eat them. But that's not all. They can appear as beautiful young women to lure young men to their death. Other stories include a hairy human form waiting by the river ready to pounce on unsuspecting travellers. Many years ago, some believed the kelpie would take the dying to a loch and drown them. It is said they can also use their magic to summon floods to sweep a traveller into a watery grave. If you hear thunder, this can be the sound of a kelpie's tail entering the water. Others say if you hear an unearthly wailing or howling, it is a kelpie warning of an approaching storm. You can indeed catch a kelpie by grabbing hold of its bridle. If you can hold onto a kelpie's bridle, you will become its master. Our next creature is a mermaid. There are many stories of mermaids in Scottish folklore and different versions ranging from evil to good. We have already spoken of one spotted at Sandwood Bay. There is a story about a mermaid at Knockdolian near the water Girvan in Ayrshire. A mermaid would sing daily on a large black stone. The lady of the house would complain daily about the mermaid keeping her baby awake with the singing. She finally ordered the black stone to be destroyed. Now, when the mermaid returned the following day, she cast a curse on the family that there would be no heir. Soon later, the baby sadly died, and no heir was born. The mother and father then passed away, and that was the end of that family line. In Forfarshire, a laird saw a young woman drowning in a loch. He dived in to help the young maiden, but to his shock, he was pulled back by his manservant. His manservant explained it was a mermaid looking for a man to drown. He heard a laugh, and when he turned back, the mermaid was swimming away. In 1833, 6 fishermen claimed they had caught a mermaid off the Isle of Yell in the Shetlands. She was small and cried the whole time on board. After a few hours of deciding what to do with her, the fishermen decided to let her go back to the sea to avoid bad luck. Some believe the mermaid to be magic, and if you manage to catch her, she will grant you wishes. If you are lucky to catch the sight of a mermaid, you may think about the granting of wishes, but be careful, she may be waiting to drown you. And this is the end of this episode. I hope you've enjoyed. Remember, like the Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That is all for now. Goodbye.